We are reporting live from the Upper East Side with your weekly rendezvous of Gossip Girl style, symbolism, scandal, and New York society. Today, we're diving into the Blair Waldorf career we were all robbed of. I'm your host, Alexis Mosley. So, in Gossip Girl, Blair Waldorf ultimately steps into her mother's legacy, taking the reins at Waldorf Designs and cementing her place in the fashion industry. But for a character who spent almost 6 seasons obsessing over prestige, intellect, and power, the ending never quite fit for me. Blair Waldorf wasn't meant to inherit a brand, she was meant to define culture. And if we're being honest, her true destiny wasn't as a designer or CEO, it was as a fashion editor. Blair was always academically driven, from Constance to Columbia and that brief stint at NYU. Blair's identity was rooted in achievement. She wasn't just stylish, but she was also strategic, disciplined, and deeply intellectual. She revered institutions and studied hard. She competed to be the best. For the Queen Bee, second place was no prize at all. That kind of mindset thrives in fashion, of course, but especially in editorial, where taste, knowledge, and authority define success. Her love of literature was so editorial coded. Blair wasn't just your typical hyper consumerist shopaholic. She sought ideas. From classic literature to old Hollywood references, her world was built on narrative, symbolism, and cultural literacy. That's literally the DNA of a fashion editor. Great storytelling with cultural context and refined aesthetic curation. Blair didn't just wear her look, she understood it, referenced it, and positioned it. She even dreamed it. She was obsessed with power, not production. Running Waldorf Designs places Blair in a production role, with her day-to-day consisting of managing collections, operations, and legacy. But Blair never dreamed of being behind the scenes sewing garments. Never one to get her hands dirty, she craved influence, authority, deciding what matters and telling minions what to do and when to do it. That's editorial power. An editor-in-chief doesn't follow trends, they create the hierarchy of taste, and who understands hierarchy better than Blair? And let's not forget that Blair Waldorf lived for a moment. From elite parties to perfectly orchestrated soirees, she knew who should be in the room, what they should be wearing, and why it mattered. I mean, she started off the series with the Kiss on the Lips party and then managed to top it with her annual sleepover just a few episodes later. That's not just social climbing, that's world building at the highest level. And since fashion editors don't just produce magazines, but also create cultural ecosystems, it's right on brand. Blair already operated like an editor while in high school. One of the most defining aspects of Blair's character was her need to become her own woman. It's what delayed her relationship with Chuck. Well, one of the many reasons. It's what drove her ambition and shaped her identity. So why would her story end with her stepping into her mother's shadow? Becoming a fashion editor would have allowed Blair to build her own legacy. She would have had an opportunity to define her own voice and wield power her way, not inherit it. Though she was the super privileged daughter of Eleanor Waldorf and a member of the elite society, she never gave off Nepo baby, you know? Blair didn't just want to be successful, she wanted to be important. And while Waldorf Designs gave her a title, an editorial position would have given her something a little bit more fitting. Well, far more fitting. Influence, authorship, and cultural power. I cannot stress that enough. But unfortunately for us, and by us I mean me, we'll likely never see this version of the story play out, but I'm sure in some sort of fictional alternate universe, the Queen Bee is giving power women like The Devil Wears Prada's Miranda Priestley and Anna Wintour a run for their money. Because if Serena was the it girl, then Blair was always meant to be the one deciding who gets to be one.